Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here to show you the Scrapping for Less August 2018 card kit. Now, as always, you can get a sketch sheet and an ingredient sheet, and they will be linked down below. These are downloads that you can get. So for August, the theme is called For the Love of Pets. As always, when you get your kit, it's always in a bag that fits the theme of this one. And let me tell you what, this one is absolutely precious. Most of us have fur babies, and they're more important, at least to me, for my husband. Yes. But let's look at our cardstock first. So you get 2 of the white 110-pound Nina Smooth White Solar Crest. You're going to get Cotton Candy, Craft, Black Licorice, Banana Split, Snow Cone, and Wild Cherry. So you get a total of 8 pieces of heavyweight cardstock for your card bases. So really, that can give you 16 card bases. Now remember, you get 4 collections. So we're going to look at the Double Dip Sundae. So the cardstock is included in this, but let's look at collection 1. So you're going to get your Scrapping for Less sequins and this adorable stamp set that's exclusively for Scrapping for Less by Newton's Nook called Puppy Pals. The paper is called Dog Tales by Echo Park. It is double-sided, and it's got a neat vintage feel to it. You guys know me. I love my vintage feel. Yep. There it is. And you get some Project Life cards that could easily be cut into shapes or just put directly onto your card base. For collection number 2, you're going to also get your Scrapping for Less sequins. You're going to get some metal bone shaped paper clips. I love using these in my calendars, my planners. I've got to clip everything. I've got to mark pages. That's what I use. Your stamp set is by Sunny Studio, and it's called Puppy Dog Kisses. And again, this is exclusive for Scrapping for Less. Look at those faces. Remember, in every collection, you do get an envelope. I know I didn't say that. The paper is Rainbow Dots, Rainbow Stripes by Sunny Studio. Some so wonderful bright colors, and they are double-sided. And what's awesome in this, you're going to get a stencil by Scrapping for Less. This stencil is a 6x6 stencil, and it's a bunch of dog bones. So it is really cute. So you can create a neat background, only do certain sections. So very versatile. So for collection 3, and again, I fight with these envelopes here. It is me. It's nothing else. It's me. Okay. We get our sequin pack, some great bright colors. Our paper is called Kitten Smitten by Doodlebug Designs. And it's precious. It is double-sided. It's just too cute. They do great paper. You get a piece of 18-inch twine, and you get some die cuts. Now remember, all the pieces that I'm showing here, the extras, can be different than what I'm showing you. But what's great is look at that stamp set. It's called Pretty Kitty by Scrapping for Less, and the ephemera matches it. Look at those faces. Hello. Too cute. That is our 3rd collection. Yes. For collection number 4, it just keeps going. It keeps going with these. So for collection number 4, again, you're going to get a pack of sequins. You're going to get the stamp called Santoro Girl with Cat. Your paper is going to be Dots and Stripes by Echo Park. It is double-sided, so the stripes are different on each side, and the dots are different on each side as well. You are going to get another stencil by Scrapping for Less, and it's cat paw prints. It could be dog prints too. We can make it work. But it's great. Another 6x6 stencil. I can't wait to play with them. They are awesome. Now remember, everything that I just showed, from the cardstock to everything now, is for the Double Dip Sundae. If you are in the banana split level or purchase it, you're going to get this extra packet. And in this packet, you're going to get this most adorable stamp set, again, by Scrapping for Less. And it's called For the Love of Pets. Look at the faces. The faces just kill me. They are too cute. You're going to get a black glaze gel pen, a die that has a wolf, a bone, a meow, and a ball of yarn. And then these adorable buttons. Now, don't think you can't put those in a card. Just snap those backs right off, and we are ready to make a card with those. And I'll actually show you that it can. This sticker sheet, I do apologize. That is going to be in one of the 4 collections. That was my fault. I set it aside, didn't pull it out. But that's what's in our kit. So let's get started with card number 1. So I've already pre-cut my pieces, again, to save time. I did a lot of pre-cutting. I'm going to pull my stamps out. I'm going to use the 2 little puppies together. And the sentiment that I chose is Friends Forever. And I'm using my black VersaFine ink. I'm going to stamp that down onto my piece of scrap cardstock. And I'm just going to trim that down using my long shears. These are my Tonic 9.5 inch long shears. And then I'm going to fishtail the end. I'm going to fishtail the end of this plaid that is 1 inch wide. And then I'm also going to fishtail my maroon piece, and that's 1.25 inches. And I'm just going to make sure that they are fishtailed. Now, the sketch that I'm using, if you've printed that down, it's actually sketch number 1. I actually kept the collections with the sketches this time. And plus, I always forget to show you what sketch I'm using, because that's what I do. So I took my other panel that's cut 4 inches by 5.25, and then a secondary panel cut 1.75 inches by 5.25, and I used my tape runner to adhere that down. And now I'm just adhering my banners down. So I have my first one in place, and now I'm going to set my second one just straddling that maroon one just a little bit, but in, so I don't have them even. We've trimmed off the edges to make it even, and then you can see the circle is what I'm going to stamp my image on, and I'm going to have them come off the bottom. Now I'm using my Tim Holtz stamp platform, and I've just put a piece of scratch paper below, because when you get ink on that fun foam that you can get from your craft store, which is what that is, it doesn't dry. And it'll get all over the place. Ask me how I know. Yep. So I just put a scratch piece of paper down there. It's very thin. It's like copy paper. And that'll catch the ink for me. I used my colored pencils. These are, I believe I used my Prismacolors for those. I have lots of sets of colored pencils. So again, to save time, I did color that off camera. I'm going to prop my circle up using some foam squares, and I'm going to set my panel down in place on my standard A2 size card base, which is 4.25 by 5.5 top folding. I'm removing some glue there because my card was actually sticking. And I'm going to set my circle down in place, and now I'm going to set my sentiment just below, along the bottom of my circle. So I'm going to put a piece of double-sided foam square on each side so that that will be adhered down onto the red banner. And then of course I've got to fight with this just a little bit. And once that's set in place, that's our first card. So for card number 2, you knew I was going to play with the stencil, right? I'm just saying. So for the stencil, I'm going to set that over my card panel, which was cut at 4 inches by 5.25 inches, so 4 by 5.25. And I pulled out my vintage photo. Y'all knew you were going to see it if you've seen my previous videos. And I'm just using my blending tool, and I'm pushing the ink down. I'm not looking for a solid coverage of the image, but so I wanted, some to fade. I just want different color shades of my vintage photo. So I'm just going all around the stencil so I can cover the entire back. Now this card's actually going to be a side fold. Okay, so it is going to be a landscape. All right. So the bones are going to be laying horizontally. Again, I've pre-cut my card pieces, the design or the color base, the platform where this white piece of cardstock is going to sit. So I just have this little cutting mat and I'm just putting some slits into that cardstock. Now that piece there that I am working on is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Or excuse me, 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. I actually used the dimensions on sketch number 2. And I'm going to place my paper clips right onto or into those slits. So you're going to be able to see the bones. I'm going to use my double-sided tape and just put that on the back of this panel here. And I'm going to set this up on the pink striped panel there that measures 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So I just really like the way that look. I like the pink and the shades of brown. I do like pink and brown together. So these two side pieces, now they are 1.5, but I just chose a different length. I believe they are 3 inches. I just cut a strip that was 1.5, and then I just cut it in half so that I can put it at each end of the panel that I stenciled on, because this square panel here will actually sit in the center of this. I did choose to use my liquid glue because the pink panel, the pink polka dots in the back, they're overlapping, so it's not an even surface. And plus with the metal and the double-sided tape, I just wanted to make sure I had a good solid adhesive that I used. The sentiment that I chose is "no bones about it, you're the best." And I'm going to stamp that a second time because I messed up the first. Because that's the best thing about paper, right? It's two sides. And if you're not going to see the other side, work with it. No need to cut another piece. So I'm just looking at where I want to place the sentiment because I don't want to cover up the metal. Matter of fact, I want to use the metal. So I actually trimmed down the sentiment, and I'm going to use my vintage photo to go around this. And I'm actually just going to clip it up into the paper clip. And I will put a piece of double-sided foam square underneath the sentiment so that it does stay in place. I use my liquid glue, my art glitter glue, to adhere that right onto the panel. So for card number 3, I like playing around with the die cuts because I think they're too cute. And plus, I needed to see that face more. So the sketch that I'm using is actually sketch number 3 because this is collection 3. Again, I've already pre-cut my panels. That base panel there is 4 by 5 1/4. That black strip that's cut on an angle is 3/4. And this panel here, excuse me, was actually cut to be 2 by 3, I believe. Yes. So we're going to set all of that in place. So I wanted to put the color panel down first. And now I'm going to set the black stripe just off that panel a little bit. And I'm just going to try to make sure that it's straight. And I'm going to trim that to make it even with the design base. I'm going to clean my scissors there because of course I got glue on them. I'm going to grab the circle, and I used a stitched circle die from my stash, and I'm going to use some double-sided foam squares to set this in place. I wanted that propped up. Again, it's my focal point, so I did want to add some dimension to that. Now, with that die cut, that's the bed, the little kitty bed, I actually used my craft knife and cut a slit in it so that I could set the little kitten up in there to make it look like she or he is actually in that. And then I'm going to glue that down, and it's going to overhang the circle. And then I'm going to set the little bowl in place as well. I'm going to use my liquid adhesive to put this on my standard A2 card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And again, it is a top folding. And the sentiment that I chose, and I'm going to stamp this right down onto the design base, let's play. I love that sentiment. It's very simple and it's fun. So I'm going to stamp that right down, try to make sure it is straight. And then I'm going to pull out my Spectrum Noir glitter pen, and I'm just going to add some accents to the dinner dish, and I'm going to add some accents to the bed. I actually highlighted the little tiny buttons that are on the bed, and I added some whiskers coming through the ears just to give it some accents. And I'm going to use some of the sequins that came in this collection, and I'm just going to place those around to give some more embellishment to the card. So again, to save time, I did color my girl already, and I did use, this time I actually used my Faber-Castell polychromos for her. So she's all colored, ready to go. And I also did use my Copics as well for her skin tone. Had to pull out this stencil again, and I pulled out my tumbled glass oxide and a finger dauber, and I'm just doing a few of the paws. I just want them on one side of this design base, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm just randomly coloring some of those paw prints in. Again, I don't want an even coat. Some can be faded, some can be bold and strong. That's okay. I'm going to place her down on the panel because I am using sketch number 4. So I created, instead of a square, I made a rectangle so that she could sit on that. I'm going to place my side panel so that you can still see the cat prints. And I've set my dot to the left. I'm going to use a section of the stripe pattern paper down across along the bottom. I'm going to prop my little girl up using some double-sided foam tape. And I'm going to straddle her right over all of those pieces, but making sure we can see those paw prints. So not a bold statement with them, but they actually will help accent. You can tell I was thinking there for a little bit, and how I twitch my fingers. I'm going to use my tape runner to put her on my A2 size top folding card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 as always. There you go. I'm finally showing you the sketch. And I'm just adding some accents using my Spectrum Noir glitter pen. I'm going to go all over her dress and on the brim of her hat. I forgot to ground her. I just noticed that, but that's okay. So for card number 5, I'm going to use pieces of the stamp set, and I chose the Woof Woof and Meow I Love You. And there you go. I threw a die. I'm always throwing something. It's either the card or something in my hand that goes across the table. So I already did a lot of die cutting, so I pulled some papers from all across these collections, just cut multiple of these. I even did the wolf and the meow, but I only end up using the black wolf and meow. So I'm just placing these all over this card base. Now this card base is just a little bit smaller. I think this is 3 3/4 by 5. And it's a stitch rectangle die from my stash. But I'm just arranging all of these items. I want to make sure I place my sentiment just to make sure where that's going to sit, because the 2 die cuts, the meow and the wolf, can help be my sentiment as well. I'm moving on to the dog bones and just setting those around. Sometimes I'm going to go up onto the balls of yarn just to cross it over. I love playing with my dies and using different colored cardstock. I think it can add great dimension and create a great pattern paper for you. I grabbed a couple of those buttons, and you can see all I did, I just snapped those buttons right off with an old pair of wire cutters, and they're very easy. No strength at all. Very easy to cut through. I'm going to prop the sentiment up using some double-sided foam tape, and now I'm going to trim everything off from around the sides. By letting your pieces go off the edges, I keep getting glue all over the place. by getting those edges off, you're actually making the card have movement. It's what I call movement, but it doesn't look like it was staged that way. The double-sided foam squares that I'm using here are very thin. They're not like normal double-sided foam squares. They're actually by Tonic Studios. So they add just a little bit, because these are, especially the mouse up there, you've got a lot of dimension going on here. So it's about the same dimension as if you had 2 layers of double-sided foam tape. You know, like when you're doing a shaker card. So, of course, we've got to show the close-ups, and we do this at regular speed, not at mock speed, so that you can see just what the cards do look like. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Know that if you are very interested in this kit, or even make sure you go with the subscription, because they do sell out, whether it's the double dip or the banana split. Of course, the links will be down below. We are also doing a blog hop, so I encourage you to hop along with everybody. See the other wonderful designs that have been created with this kit by the Scrapping for Less designers. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. I do try to answer them all, and I apologize if it takes me a little longer, but I will definitely answer your question or comment. So I do appreciate all of them. I love reading them. I want to thank you. I just want to send a thank you to everybody just to be part of my little community here and be one of my subscribers. I hope you continue to stick around, because there is so much more coming. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy. In our area, it's finally supposed to be beautiful. Yay! No thunderstorms. Imagine that. But remember what's always most important. Always be creative.